What's up, family? And welcome back to another episode of the Dagular Podcast here at the D. Aguilar Group in San Diego, California, with your host, as always, Louis Pisano, and a great friend of mine on the team today, Mr. Gabe Ortiz, where we're going to talk about everything in the last year, real estate related and beyond.
Yes.
What's going on, dude?
Unless you're in.
How are you?
Good. Still all right. Traffic's pretty bad, but
Yeah,
pretty chill.
the spires are kind of fucking shit up out there, huh?
Yeah, that and construction and whatever else that's thrown at us. Right?
It's tough, man.
It's life.
How's everything been, dude? Life has been life.
Life's been life and hard. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, obviously, I feel like we were just having this first conversation a year ago.
Yeah.
It's pretty much when it was. I think it was March.
I think that's about when I joined you.
Yeah, and obviously a lot's changed, and we'll kind of talk about something that's obviously real estate related too.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. So how's the game been for you so far for the last year?
The games, I mean, I've been in it for a while now, so it's,
Yeah.
year after year, you learn more. I honestly, you learn that you get out of it what you put into it. So
Sure.
it's what it. New agents, you get out of it what you put into it.
So what has that been like for you for the last year?
I get stuck. So I was thinking about this the other day, actually. I grew up with very little, like I single mom, 4 kids. Like we had paycheck, to paycheck. You ate what was presented, or you
on the
eat, yeah, that kind of stuff. Not a lot of money for sports, extracurricular stuff like that. And when you cruise in somewhere and like my mentality, I still have that feast or famine mentality, so when I'm sitting there looking at my bank account and there's 6 digits in the thing, I'm like, what, I need no more, like that kind of thing. And I was talking to a homie of mine the other day, and we were talking about all that, and he's like, well, you still need to keep going, do something, do something with yourself, kind of thing. And obviously last year had its own struggles. So ultimately I went to the bank and I was like, here's my money. Fucking put it somewhere. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
And so, I put a couple, 10, 20 grand in my savings account just in case. Left my business account alone, have my personal, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm broke. Now
You just flip that mentality.
I'm so I get broke. Yeah. So now in my mind, I'm like, I gotta, the money man's gotta hustle. So now I'm back, dude. And I'm just so pumped for this year. A lot of mental clarity, a lot of, family stuff settled. So we're all good to go.
Yeah, love that too.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah, for sure.
Good to have you, man. Obviously kind of getting back into the game. Obviously we saw some industry changes happen.
Yeah.
Right. Especially, back in August. How have some of the conversations been for you with clients on what those changes entail and any kind of maneuverability around those conversations or any challenges?
Yeah. You're only as strong as your team. You're only as strong as your knowledge, right? So I play it like I played everything else, it's not really a change.
It's business as usual.
It's business as usual for me. Yeah, it's the same document. Cool. It's not a big deal. But at the end of the day, we're our clients' biggest advocates, right?
Of course.
So, it's dude, I'm going to get the seller to pay for this no matter what. And if he doesn't, then you know what, we can find a different house. We can, use different financial needs.
Right.
However, we navigate it, right?
Always find a solution.
Yeah, we always find a solution. So, it's that for me, I'm never going to have my clients sacrifice for me. It's always the other way around, excuse me. So it's whether, you take a little break or you cut or, but you're going to find out real quick that the sellers that are, I'm not paying nothing to the buyer side. Pretty soon we're going to get into escrow and I'll say, okay, cool. I'll cut my commission to this much. My buyers are going to be like, that person's a fucking dick.
Yeah.
And we're not going to work with that person.
Yeah. And it's funny, right? It's been 4 or 5 months now, actually almost 5 months to it is those changes. And we've done roughly 200-300 transactions since as a team, about 400. And it's been about 250 deals that we've done as a team in 5 months. And only 3 times have sellers not paid it.
Yeah.
That's next to 0%.
It's literally it's coming from the same pocket. It's just you're out in different verbiage.
For sure, man.
It's stupid.
Yeah. What are some of the rumblings that you've heard from like other agents? Like, what are some of the conversations with like listing agents around that stuff?
Now, honestly, it's that basic conversation of like, hey, like I see that you're offering 2%, like that's chill, but are they, is that good to go? I haven't seen many below 2.
Yeah.
You know what? At the end of the day, a good agent is a good agent.
Still kind of operating with
It,
the norm.
it's straight up, like who you're. I mean, we do a lot of deals around here, so we know who we're working with the majority of the time. We reach out and it's like, hey, are they offering anything? No. Okay, well, we're gonna write a contract. You know, ask for credits or whatever it may be. And a good agent, it's setting up that expectation from the get. It's and that's really what it is. You're not going to be a good agent if you're an order taker. You take the wheel and drive your clients because you know best.
For sure. And I think that's kind of, again, the standard that we've seen, the culmination we've seen of everyone in terms of what makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And it's always about working as a team, get to the finish line,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth, right? So obviously there's a lot of those educational components, and sometimes you'll have, like, I had one recently where the seller was an attorney,
Okay.
and if for real estate client, real estate people, attorneys are our least favorite clients
Yeah.
for many reasons. But this seller was an attorney, and he read the NAR settlement back to back, and he said, "I'm not paying compensation." I've advised every single one of my clients, every single one of our coworkers. None of us, or we've all advised all of our clients that sellers should never pay a buyer broker compensation ever again. So went back and forth. Luckily, I had very gracious buyers who were more than willing to pay compensation on my side. Um, they're a family that I know from past clients, and so I gave them a little bit of a absolute buffer. So
Yeah.
trim that down. Um, Gets time to negotiating. House needed some work. It was a great opportunity for both sides, and there was about $15,000 worth of termite damage amount. Deferred maintenance, a lot of like outside trestles and stuff like that around the pool, and one of the agreements was we were giving the seller 18 months in the house after close of escrow.
Oh wow.
A little bit of a rent back, right? Year and a half. He was building an ADU on his children's property, so we were giving him the time. My clients were more than fine with having them be tenants for a year and a half. We were like, "Hey, that's totally fine. We'll give you everything you want. We just want 15K credit for the termite." Yeah. He goes, "No." He goes, "No, I'm an attorney. I don't. It's a in California we sell as is. You can pay for it yourself." So all the stars aligned just for this guy to be such a dickhead. And again, right, I tried to lose with grace, and I tried to see it in the sense of like, yes, he's an attorney, yes, he is this and that, but it was one of those things where it's like, at some point you got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And my clients didn't want to go into that relationship with a sour taste in their mouth, and they gave him everything he wanted, the price he wanted, not paying compensation, the whole nine. We're like, oh, that's fine. Clients want the house. This is all we're asking for.
Yeah.
And the reason we asked for it is because he wouldn't allow any kind of work or construction while he lived in the house.
Okay.
We're like, okay, cool, but we need this to make it work.
Yeah. It's a little bit of like a skate.
It was a one point
Anyway.
$1.34 million purchase.
Yeah.
And the seller was going to net around $1 million. And all we asked for was 15K. He goes, no, all good.
And this is what I mean by like you're
Yeah. And at the end of the day, eventually, you pay to change people, and it is what it is. And my clients are some of the most incredible people that I've ever met.
Yeah.
So we ended up canceling. So the seller took down the listing the next day, and now he's paying to get the work done instead.
Yeah. And then
it's like,
wait 18 months.
it's like, bro, what?
Yeah.
You're now paying the same amount of money to do the work where you just wanted the credit for. So again, it's one of those things where you can only control so much. And some clients, buyers and sellers are going to kind of do what they always think is best for themselves. And it's about them at the end of the day. All we can do is advocate and advise. And sometimes you deal with people that don't make sense, and they want it to do their own way. And sometimes it doesn't work out. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
It's the industry that we chose. I actually would have closed that yesterday. But it's all good.
It's coming back.
It's all good. It'll come back around in better ways, right? It just didn't work. It just didn't make sense for my clients. But
Yeah.
some of those things, when it comes to some of these conversations, how do you lead the way for the clients to help them make the best financial decision for themselves?
Honestly, we advise. I just advise. Obviously, this is my 8th year doing it. It'll be 8 years in July. Yeah, I mean, it's just the knowledge we pick up on the way. Luckily for me, I had my first transaction ever was the worst transaction of my career so far.
Tell us about that.
It was a buy sell. I was at an open house. The guy lived behind the house that we had listed. was that obviously the neighbor. He went to his buddy's house who lived literally the next neighborhood over in Palm Springs. And the dude comes in, I want to buy his house, but I'll sell my house. And, as a new agent, fucking hard. It's fucking, being on like a buy sell, like, let's go. He was the worst client I've ever had in my entire. Dude, he was, didn't want to do anything, like limited showings, but then I'm not doing enough open houses and this and that. But he was like a need for, I don't know, it was just like the most like, it was a perfect storm. And I was telling Shaden I didn't open house with her Saturday. We had the listing until December 19th.
Okay.
And the guy was like, we're not renewing the listing. We had like a 90-day listing agreement just because we wanted to close both houses quickly. And I got it into escrow December 18th. Oh shit. And like literally under the wire. And I was like, cool, dude, like we got 30 days. And literally I told her, I was like, I've never heard from that guy ever again. Like he could die. He'd be dead and I don't even know, dude. Like it's like, but yeah, so I mean, just the knowledge that we've learned from the transactions I've done, stuff like that. I just try to advise my clients, give them the knowledge and let them make the decision, because you don't want to shove the decision into somebody.
That's the main point that most realtors they try to force clients into one way or another. To one, a lot of them are trying to chase a check. Hey, get it just done. So commission breath. But we have to allow clients to make the decision for themselves based on the advice we give them. And at the end of the day, if they make a decision that they regret, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do. But we have to be there to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, it just wasn't meant to be. It'll work out better this way. This is meant for you a little bit more. And that's part of the role that we play sometimes as therapists.
Yeah.
And if it ends up being where it's something where, hey, I told you so, we're never the agent that says I told you so. It's more so we don't want it to happen again.
Yeah.
But clients make the decisions that's best for themselves. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And I mean, I've had that where showing a couple, they lived in like Indiana, they were moving to Palm Springs for a second home. I knew they wanted a single family, but they were limiting themselves financially on what they were going to pay.
Champagne taste, but
yeah, I mean, they had the money, but they were just like being like more like tight with it. And so I got them into a condo on leased land, which I mean is a whole other monster. Luckily, we don't have much out here, but in Palm Springs, there's a lot. Sold them a property for like it was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 456 goes 700. Yeah. It's like the listing agent like playing with numbers. So okay, like we ended up buying for that. 60 days later, he calls me and he's like, the neighbors stare at me. I'm too loud. We party too hard. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, we need a house. I'm like, okay, So then we go. I list the house. The agent that we bought it from bought it. Comes back, and she's like, they want that condo back. And I'm like, well, the market's appreciated. So we ended up selling it back to them for like I don't know. They covered their closing costs on their buy side from when they bought it, and on their new side, they were able to kind of almost break even.
Yeah.
And they bought a freaking super nice house. But it was just me
okay, you're bad. Yeah. Hey, listen, I can't make you do the things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But if you think you fucked up and you come back and say, hey, I made a mistake, I need your help, I'll be there to help.
Yeah. I give him a break on my commission, I'm a nice guy.
Dude, I ran into I helped clients back in 2021. 2021.
Mm-hmm.
My first full year of real estate. Met them in August of 2021. We closed in November. Got them into a perfect home. 15K under list price, which was unheard of at the time. Got them a 10K credit. They only needed 5. They're like, no, it's all good. We'll cancel. I was like, what? So it made no sense. I gave them 3 days to sit on it. They said, let's cancel. So, all right. This is after seeing like 40 homes. We canceled. And after the home appraised, after we got the 10K credit, we canceled. Because they're like, no, we just don't want it anymore. I'm like, what? They thought they were getting something different at a better price point in Carlsbad. This is in Oceanside.
Okay.
So the home goes back to the market 3 days later. And the wife calls me. She says, we want the home back. I go, you're kidding. There's no reason. So I crawled back to the listing agent, my tail between my legs. He's like, hey, the only way you guys get it back. I called him. He goes, please don't tell me you're calling to get the house back. He didn't even say, "Hey, Lewis." He said, "Just don't tell him." I started laughing. I was like, "Bill, dude, I'm on my knees praying over here, bro. Don't even get me started. They called me this morning." I said, "They called me crying with regret." And he's like, "Hey, listen, the only way I can get the sellers on board with this before going active and doing open houses this weekend is they have to give a 50K non-refundable deposit if they cancel again." I said,
Same credit, everything. They gave him back the credit back.
everything to a T. So I called the clients. I said, "Hey, this is what they'll do it for." And the husband was like, "I'll give them 100K non-refundable. That's okay. We really want it."
Oh man,
I'm like, "Hey, your word's not mine." But again, right? We can't force clients to do anything.
no,
We can only be able to pick up the pieces when they want us to.
why?
It was intense. It was wild, right? But again, right through the process, all we can do is the best we can do it. We can't force anything. So there will be agents out there that try to force things, and they're the ones that are unethical and they think by themselves. They're transactional agents.
Yep.
And sometimes life comes back around and bites you in the ass.
Every time, dude.
It always happens.
That's called life.
And life, right? I think that's a good segue into life, right? I know a lot of life has been life and don't have to go into too much detail.
Yeah.
But what are, challenges of life that kind of got you to where you are now and kind of pushing you forward?
The divorced last year.
So,
No, that's part of life, I guess. I'm a statistic now. That's why.
fuck that.
No, yeah, man. I don't know. Just you know, I feel like moving out here, it made me grow fast. Um, and it kind of kicked me in the teeth. I moved to the desert when I was 3 and grew up out there. So wherever I went, dude, I knew someone, it's just crazy. Um, so moving out here, knowing like 5 people,
Yeah.
was a wild thing, luckily I had my family. Um, and then just years into it, stagnant, you get used to your daily routine and it kind of just goes stale and whatever. And it happens, dude. But being on the other side of it now, I'm grateful because it's it made me, grow quickly, even more so than I already had. Um, and you like I got into that mindset of like, who the fuck am I at 37 years old? You know, I had lost myself in my relationship. So I took that and just kind of like stayed home most nights and just kind of like, like internalized and really figured out who I was as a human being and who I am as a person. I mean, like I go somewhere, I'm smiling at everyone. It's like a super friendly dude. Um, but there's been a lot of dark in my life. And so being able to like process all of that at the same time and just like be crushed to like nothing and like, out of the ashes rise the phoenix, like stuff like that. So it's like, I'm grateful for my kids and everything I got out of my marriage. I'm grateful for the past almost year, or I guess like 8 months of like separation, going through the divorce, like learning things about myself again, refinding myself.
Yeah.
Now I'm like the most dangerous version of myself because I'm like fucking unhinged and a single dad of 2. It's like I just have fun, dude. I don't know.
And live life. And it's, I appreciate you, man. We'll get into that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. It's tough. We've all been through our dark parts of life. I think everyone's got a chapter or two in their lives where it makes them the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
And I came out of mine about a year and a half ago and I was engaged, so 4.5 year relationship, a fully planned wedding and ripped right under my feet. And it was, I don't want to call it overnight, but it felt like overnight. And, for the next 15 to 18 months, I was a shell of myself, right? Yeah. Still showing up, still had to come in, do my job, meet my clients and help with the team. And at the end of the day is grateful is the only word I could find for that experience.
Yeah.
I was broken in ways that I didn't know a human being could break internally, mentally, and emotionally. And
Yeah.
And to your point, right, out of the ashes rise the phoenix. It's our greatest strengths come from our greatest struggles, and all of our power comes through all the pain that we've been through. And at the end of the day, the only thing I could shed light on is the gratitude I have for the growth that I've had over the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm now mentally, emotionally at the best point of my life that I've ever been. the amount of growth that has taken place has made me the man and person I am today. And it's just, a lot of forward outlook of like, I'm super excited about what the future brings.
Yeah.
And certain things we just can't control. This is the theme of today is lack of control. But at the end of the day, the only thing we can control is how we respond to things that happen to us.
Yeah.
And you've obviously responded, right? It takes time and we get it. And I know you get it. And now it's who is Gabe to be from here?
Yeah.
Right. Like, so what do you want the rest of the year and kind of moving forward to look like for you?
Dude, I'm putting my head down. We're hustling. Yeah, honestly, just a lot of that. I just need to like reinvest in my work. I'm just time with my kids.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to go from like full-time husband, father to like now you have your kids 3 to 4 days a week. And I'm like, dude, those days I don't have them, like
Strange.
work all day and freaking hang out and like go to concerts, I think I went to like 15 Padres games last season. Dude, because I was like,
Yeah.
why not? Like I didn't have to do that before.
It's one of those things where you have to look at the right and bright side of things of like, where does my life go from here? And again, I don't have children. I've never been divorced. I luckily didn't get married and got divorced, right? Some things you just can't change. I am a child of divorce though. My parents split when I was 10 years old and it ripped my family apart and my family was broken, right? So I also know plenty of families that go through divorce and they have children and it doesn't break the family. I didn't have that experience. My experience was dog shit from it. Yeah. So, handle it the way you have and doing what you can to keep things on the better side of things. That's a win in itself. That's something to be proud of, not only as a now ex-husband, but also as a father, most importantly.
That was my biggest thing because I grew up without a dad. Yeah, and then I had a stepdad that was the freaking monster. So, that was something how we waited a long time to have kids, and I'm so grateful now because I dude's mature. I've matured so late. I feel like it was like 2 months before my 30th birthday, and I was like, I think I could have a kid now. We had like said we were never having kids, so now I have an 8 and 6-year-old. I've been 38, so it's like I'm so grateful to be where I'm at today with them because growing up without a dad, I'm free all in as a dad. Yeah, like I'm there, like whatever you would need to coach for your team. Well, let's go. Yeah, like we go to Dave and Buster's once a week. Like all the things.
You go from dag life to dad life.
Dude, that's it. That's my week in week out.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's
What are some things you do with the kids, the kiddos? Like
everything.
obviously 2 boys, right?
2 boys. Yeah.
What do you guys like? What's like a weekend together?
So I get them either Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning. We'll go. I let them choose, dude, because I'm down. Like I'm a giant child. Like whatever you wish did. I'm like, you guys want to go to Legoland? Like, 'cause we got past this. Like, where we live is so awesome. It's like you want to go to the beach, you want to go to Legoland, you want to go to Dave and Buster's. Like every single movie that comes out, I see. Yeah, I freaking love movies. So I just take them to do whatever, and then it's like the days we chill at home. It's like we're playing Mario Kart or sitting there watching cartoons or something. Like I'm down,
Yeah.
and just like snuggle on the couch with my boys. It's like have them play on their iPads and like, yeah, look at this, and I'm like watching some kid get whacked in the nuts with a baseball bat. Like they're watching like YouTube and stuff. It's like the dumbest crap.
But I think again, it's those core memories. They don't ever.
The most meaningful thing is being present. That's all you have to do with kids is sure be there.
Yeah, man. Again, I don't have kids, but I'm definitely excited to. Actually, I want at least 2. See that where that goes.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Like for with you, a lot of life changes. What's one important lesson that you took away from it? Where you're like, okay, this lesson's going to carry me the rest of my life.
That just to never deny yourself ever. Like honestly, like I get the give and take of a relationship. I get, happy wife, happy life. Like, right, just wanting to be, there for somebody. I like being raised by a single mother. I obviously watched my mom struggle the majority of my life financially. And so when I got into like a serious relationship, it was easy for me to put myself on the back burner to make sure that didn't happen to my wife. Yeah. So it was like, let's build you up you know, put you on a pedestal and I'm good, you know. But in reality, it was terrible for me, you know, like it was, like I said, me having to find myself again it's like, who the fuck's Gabe? Like, I don't know. Last year, like, I couldn't have told you, dude, you know, but it was like the building blocks, rebuilding your confidence and your self-worth and you know, because if you don't have that at a young age, what are you going to have in your 20s,
Exactly.
you know? Um, and it was always, life was always a struggle. And I'm used to the struggle, you know? So being comfortable was like a new thing. But now that I'm comfortable and it's like nights I can just like go home and chill with my dogs and like not do anything and be alone.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the fuck am I, dude? But it's like exciting and like, it's so sick.
You get a chance to recreate yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. You look at someone like Madonna. She's created herself once every 5 years for the last 50 years, right? Like she's been through 15 different lives.
No, she looks like Carrot Top.
Yeah, exactly, right? But it's one of those things where I learned a lot over the last couple of years to get lost in the beauty of like becoming the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And that comes with a lot of breakthroughs and it comes with a lot of figuring out exactly who you are, figuring out what kind of life you want to live,
Yeah.
figuring out what kind of impact you want to have on other people. And at the end of the day, it comes down to what do you want to be remembered for?
Yeah.
And what do you want people to remember you by? Right. So, I'm proud of you for that. It's a lot, man. It's a lot to go through and obviously not to go, we won't go any much more in depth on it than that. That was enough for, for one day for one. And I know you've been through a lot, but we're excited to have you back.
Yeah. Heck it.
Obviously it's going to be excited kind of the rest of the year. What are some things that are kind of happening in your life in terms of, real estate related and stuff like that?
Honestly, I'd try to like mentally make my goals now for this year. And I want to do at least one open house a week. Cause I getting in front of people, dude, and I'm just fucking,
It's a personality trait, right? When it comes to, and I'm glad you brought up like the business planning component, right? So, there's with real estate, there's ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys of the industry, right? Of your business. Everyone's business goes like this. So it's very rare that people are just consistently like this. So in time, and like call it in a rut, going through a rut where you have some downtimes. What are some things that you do to revamp your business or to increase your business to
um,
again?
I mean, honestly, like open houses is a huge one. Um, reaching out to your sphere. I mean, you know, people obviously, careers change, stuff like that. People, you know, become, you know, especially like knowing a younger crowd and an older crowd, you know, you see like people change jobs and stuff like that. You never know what their finances look like. Obviously, it's none of your damn business.
Of course, people get married, people have kids, they got to upgrade. People had two divorces and they got to
Always.
downgrade.
Yeah. And that was something I loved about having Connor in the other day. Cause it's like, dude, like use your social media for yourself, but as well as like for your business, because you don't know what the people are going through in your life. And then it's like, oh crap, like I didn't even know Gabe did real estate, or, you know, like the new people I meet, it's like, oh, you real estate? They look at me like, really? Like this dude does real estate? Yeah. You know? But it's like, uh, you can always combat that with knowledge. And, so that's kind of what I do. And it's, you know, open houses, just reaching out to your sphere, make sure everyone knows what you do. And, you know, make sure you obviously are like, I'm like silly and dorky and fun, whatever. But it's like, also there's like the serious side of me where I'm like, I know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it's like work. Yeah. And people freaking, like, I'll sit there and talk to somebody 15 minutes about real estate and they come out for like, holy shit, like, I didn't say that, you know, but it's like, I got all this shit up here. So it all works, you know?
Internalize it.
Yeah.
And then regurgitate it.
Yeah. So then, yeah, I feel like those are the biggest things I would say I would recommend. Just that. I mean, I'm not good on a phone, dude. I'm sorry. I just like, I feel phone, you know, like I could be reading from a script and I can't freaking get the next word out. When you get me in front of people, dude, it's just like personality.
That's it. Sometimes that's all it takes. You have it. Last two questions. Worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Because you don't have clients, your time is worthless.
Let's elaborate on that.
So like when I first started, my team lead, when we would show up to the office, you know, they would expect us to be at the office but not really expect anything. But it's like, I had a newborn son. I was a, you know, husband, And he's like, well, you don't have any clients right now, so your time is worthless. So you might as well go sit in an open house that's not going to bring anything to you. Like on like a Tuesday in like La Quinta, and I'm like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like, I'm a dad, dude. Like, my time is worth something to my kid. Yeah. Like, like it's to my wife. Like, I could be home. She could be working.
What he meant was your time was worthless to his business.
Correct. I mean, you're bringing any money in if you're not just parked somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not true. It's like everyone's time is worth something.
Yeah.
Like if you're not busy, then cool. Maybe you go to an open house if you're in a hot house, yeah, cool, do that. Cold call, do this, do that. But it was just like that mentality is just dumb. I don't know how to.
I think I think I go as far to say it was more so a selfish thing to say.
Yeah.
Because it was about him and his team and his bottom line.
Yeah.
That's very obvious, right? And it's evident in old school teams and teams that are smaller. That's the difference between a boss and a leader.
Yeah.
A leader would have changed the narrative and helped you have worthy time, will make your time more meaningful.
Let's go door knocking to get through, or yeah.
But okay. Well, that's one piece. What's the best advice you've ever got?
Honestly, like that's a good question. I'm gonna say, but I've heard it from people, but it's also something that I've like thought of this whole last year is that, and I think I touched on it the last time we talked. No matter what you've gone through in life, no matter where you come from, nothing like that, none of that crap you have to take with you. Everyone is always worth something. So I guess I'm like on a light and dark side over here because your time is worth anything, but really your time is worth what you make of it, right? And this time on earth that we have, whatever impact you want to make, do it, dude. Don't be fucking scared. Don't start in a month. Don't put it in your head that you're going to do it next year when you're ready or when you have this or when you have that. Do it now. Because you know what? There's no failures, dude. There's only lessons to be learned.
That's it. Only time you fail is if you quit.
That's it, dude.
Love it. Appreciate you, man. Absolutely. That's great. Thank you guys for checking out another episode of Dag Podcast. See you next time.